Hey Lloyd, thanks for joining us from all the way from South Africa. I know we're kind of in the same time zone, but you're all the way, well, pretty much from my perspective, at the other end of the world. How have you been doing?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, man. Good to chat again.
Yeah, it's definitely been a while. But hey, thanks for joining us today because the last time we spoke, I did get a little sneak peek of Multiplied and what it can do. But before we get into all the beautiful stuff that you guys are creating south of the equator, can you do me a quick introduction about yourself and about Multiplied?
Yeah, super. So, yeah, sunny South Africa, very different part of the world to where most of the industry is coming from. But yeah, myself and my partners have built a high-end media personalization platform. So it's really media personalization made simple. We traditionally are a design and motion studio. So it's really taken that power of a motion studio and then pairing that with the scale and efficiency of automation.
Yeah, no, and indeed, that's one of the things that attracted me the first time. I think was a LinkedIn post from one of the CEPs, I guess, and what they were boasting about that is that you had finally, or they finally created an integration with you guys, where based on an event linked to a specific user, that you guys were able to generate custom media and push that back into the platform to be distributed to that individual. And I thought this really piqued my interest. I was like, wow, all right, I need to check out the website. And you guys had this amazing commercial as an example there. But I'm not gonna unveil anything. I'm gonna let you take the floor here. Yeah, please take us on the journey around what Multiplied is and how you guys integrate with the platforms that I usually find myself discussing to my audience.
Super. So, diving straight in here, if you can see screen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So unlike basic image generators or rigid SaaS platforms, what we aim to do is deliver studio quality personalization that's tailored specific for a specific brand. So it's that pairing of we are part a design studio and part an automation platform, and really kind of package that into a streamlined service. So really the three steps from idea to implementation would be crafting the templates, would work with your objectives, your data points, your brand assets, and any channels. And then really nothing is impossible here if we are taking data from three different places, combining it to create, an image, a video, a GIF, and they're all going to a different part of an omni-channel experience. We've really built a kind of a stream or a campaign manager that will bolt on alongside existing CRMs
Yeah.
to really boost up the experience. And we like to start with the user experience first. So it's a case of going, well, what would be the most amazing experience for somebody to receive, whether it's a welcome gift or whether it's a end of year wrap campaign, and then work backwards from that. Okay, well, what channels do we have access to? What data would we use? And we design the experience from there. And really, it's the dance between the design and the data. And I'll show you some of our design process just now. But it's really a case of going, okay, well, what do we want it to look like?
Yeah.
What do we want the experience to be? And then, well, do we even have the data points to enable that? And if not, how can we get it? And I think media personalization or personalization in general that is most successful is those that goes beyond first name. It's not just okay, dear first name, we personalized our email, job done. But it's taking data points within a life cycle moment and going, well, why does that matter to that person? Naturally you left something in your cart and we want to remind you about it,
Yeah.
but really data points can go so much further than that. Whether it's
Absolutely.
a particular category that you've been shopping.
And even with the demo that I saw earlier with the with just using the first name, even that was amazing. But you're spot on in saying that there's so much data to work with, and the end of year wraps really made a huge impact in the community everywhere online. God, you can turn your head, or you were forced to watch another end of year wrap of someone. Mostly from Spotify, but you guys take a different approach to that. Before we continue, because there was an interesting topic before we started recording, this was around AI, because it's been a strange week last week with OpenAI's new Imagen feature. But I think you described it pretty well in how this, what you guys have developed, fully differs from what OpenAI can do. Is understanding the context and maintaining that context throughout the entire design and delivery process. I mean, what were your responses last week when you saw what OpenAI dropped?
No, it's super fun. I mean, I think what's special about it is the consistency in terms of what it can deliver within one chat. So I've seen people put out icon packs that are all, beautifully matching. But I think what's so exciting about this is it's contextually aware of, it understands what it's asking from. Where we differ though is generative AI can tend to go off in a tangent, which is amazing for the experimentation and the creative process. But really, when it comes down to delivering an experience, we mostly work with brands where that experience needs to be on brand every time. So our templates are highly intelligent in terms of being able to adjust based on data points. It's not just about taking a name and putting it into a JPEG, but so much more about, okay, well, because somebody lives in this region or because they have are part of this segment, the piece of media with a video, GIF, or image can completely adjust and change there. So it's really about working within a brand experience, but having that intelligent piece of media not go off on a tangent and start inserting non-branded visuals in, but really creating an experience that surprises and delights, and creating something, as you said, about the wrap campaigns that really turns heads. And it's a lot of that starts with actually automation is the power there, and go, okay, what does it look like? And this does require immense compute to be able to put out this kind of personalized and intelligent media. But I think it speaks for itself in terms of when that experience arrives. I mean, after crafting the templates, the next steps there is the integration. So we've looked to make this as effortless with whatever system you would have, and we've got a number of official partnerships with some of the leading platforms out there. But we find ourselves, we often do custom, and especially when it comes to serving to any channel, we'll meet you where you are. Okay, where's the data? Where do you need the experience to go? And we'll close the gap. So we have both the design and the dev capability to make it a done for you service, or at least that end-to-end experience. So whether you're an agency or a brand, we'll close the gaps and get a campaign across the line. And then the last step is really the automation. So that can go live and create these unique experiences for every customer at scale. And it doesn't matter if it's an omni-channel, like once-off campaign, or whether it's an ongoing lifecycle automation. The system will kind of boot up and adjust at scale. So it's really about delivering those standout moments that cut through the noise. And I suppose getting to the pretty part.
I was just about to say, my wife is studying to be a teacher of fine arts at the Arts Academy, and she can have these very abject, what's the word? Very long conversations without actually seeing abstract. That's the word. Yeah, very abstract discussions.
And my business partner, who's the creative, will also be like, "Oh, you should have gone to the examples more. Like, stop just talking. Like, show, don't tell."
Well, I'm glad we finally got there. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty, because this is the juicy part. I love this.
So really, a data point can adjust a particular experience, a piece of media, in a number of different ways. What you're seeing at the top with the BMW GIFs is really how a segment, depending on whether a person was interested in a particular model, how that adjusted the GIF that was in their email. And I'll jump to the email just now.
Yeah.
And then below, one of our strong suits is also data visualization. We have a lot of fun with that custom level design when it comes to, let's tell the most engaging and amazing story when it comes to a particular set of complex data, and packaging that into something exciting. So if my screen's still sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you're looking at here is an email that we did for BMW a couple of years ago. And they had very limited personalized data. We know someone's name, and we know what a vehicle they're interested in, or at least what model they're curious about. So we reimagined their quarterly email to be not just, oh, the new model's out, here's the price, but to go, okay, well, how can we take a person along for the ride? And how the email adjusted out, as you've seen, the gift changed, but then really the point of the email invited that person to click through to a personalized landing page and watch a film that was specifically made for them. So here you're starting to see where the variety of pieces of media start to stack. Okay,
Yeah.
GIF in email, click through to landing page where there's custom.
And that landing page is everything we're seeing here, where the word smiles, because I think a lot of people might be confused saying smiles. Is it a smile campaign? No, this is actually a very unique first name. Probably, I don't know if it's South African, but
who knows? Anybody in email marketing who knows really good emails, it's a repository of email designs. They change all of their emails to be addressed to Smiles Davis. So this is an email that is up there, and this is where the name would live.
Yeah.
And then really the crux of the campaign was this personalized video. So everybody
this was
got
amazing.
a video and very basic form of personalization. We just had their name, but we tied that into the experience in a unique way by putting a custom number plates on.
Yeah, because I noticed
really
you actually use the correct font on the license plate. Even you guys really go into detail.
I'm glad it's appreciated, and I think that's also where we have fun with the design process, is going, well, those details matter, and they start to stack up when it comes to designing an experience. So that was the video, and then it really just invited them to book a test drive, and then in the same way that the X3 email adjusted, so too did the landing page and video for people interested in a different model. So here, this is also where we start to get excited about this, is the engagement on email was twice anything they'd seen before, just including that GIF in the email. And that's where the personalization and the personalized media starts to stack up from an experience point of view.
I mean, and my mind's already doing over time right now. It's really working its gears. I'm like, wow, if you know the person's favorite color, or they've used the car configurator online to put on specific, add the specific type of color, specific rims, you could really get this down to the T in generating these media files for them.
And that's also where personalization is not just about, we have to take a data point we have in the CRM and I've got to insert it into the piece of communication, but it is so much more about, well, how do we make that communication more meaningful for that person?
Yeah.
And it's really only them, that the recipient, that would appreciate it. Oh, I see, like that is made for me. A lot of the time, it's not just about a sales moment. It's not just about putting someone's name on something so that you can sell more. But I think the people who get personalization right are really those who go, well, we have data based on, the life cycle journey of a particular person. How do we tie that together so that that adjusted experience means something more to them when they arrive? And this other example, that data viz example that you saw earlier, this email went out to players as they finished a tennis tournament, and they compared their game to the previous champs. But now you start to see, okay, well, how do you adjust an email experience where it's not just a GIF at the top which addresses you by name and gets you excited? I mean, this goes a long way to the email engagement and click through, but then also really looking at taking that data and packaging it into a beautiful experience, and data viz that is custom like this goes a long way. And again, this particular experience didn't stop at email. I clicked through to a particular landing page where there was a video that unpacked into a lot more.
Yeah, it's got the Wimbledon colors there. But just out of curiosity, are, I mean, you mentioned that you guys come from kind of the creative and the creative agency background. This is the part where you add that extra value to your customers, because it's one thing to have the technology to be able to receive that data and merge it into the media templates that you have, but those templates need to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
What is kind of the process that you guys go through with customers? I mean, I guess it's kind of getting to know each other, understanding the brand, understanding the offering, and being able to come up with a creative solution to build something unique.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is typically what a brief would look like for us. You know, there'd be the before the current state of going, cool, this is this is what we're currently doing. This is as far as we can take personalization for this particular example.
Yeah.
They only had a person's name and the product ID, you know, limited between Segment and HubSpot as to, you know, so their hands were tied in terms of going, okay, well, how do we know they have abandoned the cart, but what do we do with that?
Yeah.
And so this is where, you know, sitting alongside the CRM, we were able to build out a personalized experience that mimicked the shop experience, and the email on the right that you're looking at is where we went to it. But you can see that, you know, before kind of generic, there's no motivation or emotion in terms of, we know you were just looking at a particular appliance.
No, actually just a cross-sell opportunity for the energy saving appliances.
Exactly.
But in the after, what did you guys do there? I think it's the animated GIF there with "We saved your water heater."
Correct. Yes, I'll show you the GIF that we put at the top.
Oh, goody.
What we had to do with the product ID was do a second API call to their product catalog. So going, okay, well, we have product ID. That's amazing. Let's go fetch the data that we need to build out a meaningful and useful experience. And that's when we could get price, we could get product images, we could get all the technical detail. This is an animated GIF, which I'll show you, which again just started off the email, get people excited and captures their attention. What you do with that attention is then, as you scroll down, start to remind them, okay, you were looking at this. Here's you know, the reason you were looking at this particular appliance and all the technical details, the price. And then again, also, these are images. So what we do, instead of just building out one image and it just gets used across, we'll build out, you know, two or multiple images so that the mobile experience is you know, favored, and each one is custom to where people are seeing it. So really, when it comes to variations, this is where I get quite excited and going, well, okay, you built a template, but now when you start throwing data at it, it's going to break depending on where things go. Okay, well, this is a regular experience. Hey, Rosalind, we saved your dishwasher and your wallet. You know, this is the price. There's a discount and there's financing available. But then you go, okay, well, what if there's no financing on a particular person's item, or there's no discount? You know, this is when that experience needs to adjust. And, you know, those are the small nuances that change when it comes to building out those intelligent templates. And again, with the responsiveness, how do you make sure that no matter where they're seeing this email, especially image-based emails, and we always do a combination of image and HTML, but when an image is used, making sure that if it is quite bulky and wide, create a vertical version of that. And we do that with our GIFs as well.
But so far, I've seen appliances, I've seen sports, like sports organization. I think it was a tennis tournament, and I've seen automotive. I mean, in terms of
the classic e-commerce example, gotta go supplements. So another example, if I'm still sharing screen, is again, interestingly, this is another abandoned cart example. But this was quite an exciting one when it came to seeing performance differ between that generic and personalized experience. But really, as far as Klaviyo goes, it's just adding in a webhook into the flow the data is sent to us. We generate that piece of media. We send it back to the person's profile, and then the flow continues as normal. So, this is where we've also tried to make the process as easy and straightforward as possible.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to what that media can do, it's again that intelligent design process. Okay, well, what kind of data points are we dealing with? Do they have one item in their cart? Do they have multiple items in their cart? How does that experience adjust for them, depending on whether their cart is of a certain value? How do you adjust that piece of media so that it offers them free shipping or not? And then again, the new customer email gives them a 20% discount. But knowing their cart value, we can then go, okay, well, let's calculate that and let's show actually what does 20% mean to you, and you can see your cart value. So really, we're taking those data points and then just trying to make it as meaningful for someone. Obviously, we're quite biased towards the motion design, and then trying to make it as dynamic and engaging as possible. And so this is where you start to see a particular GIF or a particular template adjust depending on the data that gets pumped through.
And just out of curiosity, I mean, so you have a webhook sends data to you, you process that data into the predefined templates, and then you send something back. Are you turning the files in a base 64 and pushing everything to the client, or are you hosting everything yourself? What does that look like for the client? What do they do with the response that they are getting from multiple?
So other personalized media platforms that are out there, a lot of their power and their strength is that instant. They do it on open, and they will create one image that is generated as the email is opened. We're slightly different in that we're customized for or built for omnichannel. So going, well, we need to create an image that's used in the push notification, a GIF that's used in the email, a web-based video that goes to app. And we'll build out multiple pieces of the email, especially when it comes to the likes of GIFs and videos. And they require a processing time that is longer than the amount of attention that you could hold someone in email. So we pre-generate everything, which is why our process happens built into the flow. Data is pushed, media is generated. It's very short, a couple of seconds, but still longer than you could do in a live process or with an email. But it allows us to create a variety of pieces of media wherever, whatever channel you're using. Okay, well, you need an MP4. It can't be base 64 pushed to WhatsApp. Meta requires there is a MP4 asset that they embed into that WhatsApp message. Cool. Okay, no problem. We've got MP4 covered. Going to WhatsApp. GIF, highly optimized for size and load times. GIF is ready to be merged into email. And obviously images for email as well. But then for longer experiences, whether it's an in-app campaign, and this is an example of an in-app wrapped campaign that we did for a finance app here in South Africa, the experiences are much longer. So looking at, and again, just really interesting to see how people respond to personalization. Almost a 5 times click-through rate on any email they'd ever sent, just based on having personalization in there. And then also when it comes to A/B testing or experimentation, we saw the people who received the personalized experience engage with that app's core feature 20% more than the control group. So then you also start to see, actually, there's a behavioral change in terms of how people respond to your brand when personalization is used. And I mean, these are very common stats on anybody embracing personalization.
But these are stats from your own observations from the
correct, from the specific campaign. And then the point of this campaign was a referral campaign, as they tied that call to action at the end of the wrapped, and saw both a surge in word of mouth and referrals. So I mean, these are this data we get quite excited about. But going back to the creative and the media format, so these are 3 scenes which were pulled out. The full experience was between a minute and a minute and a half. click
Oh, that's
through
right
like
on.
a
Yeah.
Spotify wrapped in email. So,
Yeah.
that chapter based experience. But again, when it comes to how that logic is worked out, anyone who's done a wrap campaign you can really understand the variety in data that you have per person. So again, we were using different data points on whether a particular savings amount had happened or whether they had earned a certain interest, and using those as triggers to turn up. Well, actually, if they've earned under a certain point, they don't want to hear about that. That's not so meaningful for them. Turn off that section in the video.
They've made one
Whether,
cent on their savings,
yeah, congratulations. And I enjoy all the media that's shared kind of in December and January, where people get emails or videos or whatever in-app experiences, and it's just like, you did zero and you made zero, and and the person has, that they just didn't have some of those triggers to adjust for what gets sent. So I think this is really where that design and data process is important, and the dance between going, okay, well, oh sure, but what happens if
Yeah.
we don't have that data point?
That's a great point.
How do you build in a fallback, or how do you turn off that part of the experience for people?
Well, that's my next question. How do you guys do that? I mean, data quality is a hot topic again now because of AI, because it's just exposing the cesspit. Sorry that I have to say it like that, but the cesspit of enterprise data at times.
Yeah.
And like, are you going to train your data on this? It's not even worth. Well, I'm not generically speaking here. Of course, there are companies out there who have everything pristine and in order, but I still get LinkedIn's emails from a specific group that just has the curly braces and has name of group. I was like, come on, guys, you're a Microsoft company, fix this already.
Yeah.
But anyway, data quality.
And just on that point, the sentiment in that email is normally, hey, curly brackets first name, we really care about you, or we really miss you. And you're like, but do you? I'm not so sure.
I've had two instances now. One was with a company that I was actually a CDP company, and I won't name them, but I sent them an email for a demo, and I filled out a form with my last name, Nita Berger. I know it's not a common name, but so it's easy to recognize. But I got an email like within a few minutes saying, "Dear Mr. Hassan," I was like, "Sorry, you sell a platform for personalization."
Yeah.
For customer data that you can use in personalized emails. You send me an email with "Dear Mr. Hassan." So I never contacted them again. I was like, no, it's just not worth diving deeper into that one. And I've had so
It
many
doesn't
of these
matter how
cases.
fast your data processing is on your CDP. If you can't get the name right, I'm suspect about the rest.
It's crazy. And there was another one, was a recruitment agency that sent me an email saying, "Hey, we noticed we have a wonderful data opportunities for contracting work in Midlothian. Sorry for the people from northern UK, Scotland kind of area if I pronounce it incorrectly, but it was a city not even close to me. It's like, what database did they get my data from? And thought it would be a good idea to send me an email for jobs over 400 miles away. It just
Either
doesn't
that,
make
or they
sense.
know you better than you know yourself, and they knew that you would have loved to move to Midlothian.
I'm moving there next year, probably. Maybe my wife is not sharing all the information with me on her plans for 2026. Maybe that's
Oh
it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
bring that up over dinner. Oh, do you know I got this email today, and it was for a job, and she'll be like, oh, really? Yeah, you should definitely look at that.
It's crazy, but but that's why I like that you're saying that do not show any kind of animation or parts of the wrap if it's not interesting, if it's not
Yeah,
excitable. I mean, it needs to be a memorable moment. It needs to have that data needs to have impact and really have that wow factor. And like you said, if you have $1 in your savings account and you earn 1 cent interest over that entire year, do not share that information.
yeah.
I mean, but is this kind of the conversation that you have with your clients to say, okay, where do we draw the line here? What are kind of the lower limits of data that we want to show? And you already mentioned you have fallbacks for when that data might not be available or it doesn't match. But what does that conversation look like?
I, I think also we've worked with some awesome clients. So when they can see why going to find a particular data point is important, that gets prioritized in engineering
Yeah.
and going, okay, like I can see what, if we had their rank in terms of if they're a top investor, we can show that to them, and that's probably going to lead to them either wanting to continue using the service in a particular way. So a lot of the time, that comes back to that show don't tell, and that when we design out a process, a lot of the times we'll shoot for those like, oh man, this would be the most amazing experience. Do you have that data point? No. Can you get it? Yes or no. So
Calculator
so
or
I think,
whatever. Yeah.
and that's it. So I think a lot of, and again, where we differ from like a rigid SaaS, which has got a template and, the JSON's got to be in a particular format and it breaks if it's missing. We would specifically design out, okay, well, the switch is going, well, if it's above average, show this scene. If it's a below average, switch the data visualization around. That was the difference between data points just being used as is or data points being used as switches.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of, wrap campaigns are a beast in their own right. And anyone who's attempted that, really appreciates. And a lot of the people I've spoken to have done wraps internally, whether agencies or brands, understand the opportunity is great to celebrate your customers in a particular way, but so too is it having your data clean. And I think you just got to do it once, and then your
Yeah.
data's in the right place, and you'll be able to do it going forward. But sometimes it does require a bit of effort the first time you look at personalization to really have your data ready to be used in the correct way. And when it
Yeah.
comes to lifecycle stuff, I think anything coming out of a CRM as part of an automation, most of the time the data is there and it's been triggered by a particular event. They were added to a segment, or they've taken a particular behavior on a shop, or they have passed a certain tier in your app. So there, a lot of the time, the data is there. It's just about knowing how to build that out into a meaningful and exciting experience for the customer.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the end of March now. It's March 1st when we're recording this. And the thing that comes to mind is that, these year wrapped kind of videos or films or aggregations, they take a lot of time to prepare. Is this kind of the time where clients start reaching out to you to start preparing these end of year wrap videos? I mean, it's not something you shouldn't come knocking on your door like December
I
1st and
wish
say,
I'd love it if people started reaching out in Q1, Q2 and just letting me know. But
yeah,
typically
those
it's
listening,
it's
call
it's
them now.
Q, yeah, exactly. It's normally a Q3, Q4 thing. So people will
Really?
3 months ahead of time, those that take it seriously and understand what goes into it. Um,
Yeah.
and typically it will really only take a month start to finish to get live, but the process, and whether it's a people bureaucracy or a data bureaucracy, there is a delay in terms of, what you're asking and what is, I just want to see, there's another particular use case we have where, again, just reinterpreting a data point makes it meaningful. So
So what are we looking at now here?
this was an onboarding for an insurance, and just to break a bit out of the e-commerce example, and really just to give you another idea of going, okay, well, what if your onboarding was personalized to, okay, well, what product they bought, this particular video went out to people after they insured their cars. So, okay, well, what the model is. How do you, have a little moment that celebrates their name and their car? But the point I wanted to show here was we knew what suburb they lived in. So without going too creepy, in terms of the wrong kind of personalization. The useful kind of personalization was, okay, well, just an API call to Google Maps and pairing their closest inspection partner with their suburb, going, okay,
That's what
well,
we're looking at. Yeah.
yes. So then it would be like, okay, well, your nearest inspection partner is this person. Here's the distance away. Again, that level of personalization, when brands can see that and go, oh, okay, I understand why it's important to either have or go and get a particular piece of data. I think, especially when coming back to your point, when it comes to experiences, or actually any personalized experience, really having a vision as to what an experience could be, and then motivating for, okay, well, this is why it is worthwhile taking the time to get the data in the right place. And I
Yeah.
think that's also where we've kind of endeavored to make it easy, regardless of where your data is. We'll go and close that loop for you. Okay, we can take some data from here. We can connect to a different system if CDP and app or database and CRM are not all speaking to each other. We can do that integration and really complete the circle in terms of building out a particular personalized experience.
Just out of curiosity, did this campaign go out to all ages? Or, I mean, if my old father, well, he's dead, but if he was to sign up for an insurance, would he also get something like this, or was this kind of like an age-specific targeted campaign? I'm just
No,
looking at the chain.
This was this particular brand in South Africa. This is their style, and so again,
Oh, okay.
creatively, we're not locked into a particular look and feel. This was designed. They have a very tongue-in-cheek, over-the-top, brand.
I get it. I'm seeing it now
So
with the other examples.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this was visually noisy because that fits into the rest of their experience. So again,
Yeah.
this is really where it gets exciting for us when it comes to building out custom experience. Is that a lot of the time, it's definitely not the same as we've done before. That there's definitely no rinse repeat, and yeah, I think the fun part comes down to, okay, well,
Each campaign is unique.
yeah, 100%.
But here's the question, and I don't want you to reveal any of your kind of IP or too many of your future ideas, but where are you guys going to be taking this, say, a year from now? Processing is getting quicker. I think the demand, well, there have been some reports saying that some companies are pulling plugs on personalization, but they probably haven't seen this. But where do you guys see yourselves with Multiplied in a year from now?
I think, at least where I hope we end up spending more of our focus is really just in those transactional moments. An early example we got, I don't know if I can share the names, but we switched project management tools, and the email that we received after importing our data from one to the other was a little picture of a toilet with the old platform's logo going down the toilet. And it was just such a beautiful moment in terms of like, wow, like, oh, I get it. It was a simple transaction moment. Your data has finished exporting or importing. But
Brilliant.
how they interpreted that as a little brand moment for me as a customer was so elegant. So I think there's such power in transactional moments, in delivery notifications, in post-purchase pings. And again, then balancing different channels. Do you send them a WhatsApp video that just gets them excited about their delivery is on the way?
Yeah.
So there's really some exciting uses for transactional. I wonder if I can pull up another example that we did, which was exactly that, and it was a very simple data point. Okay, there is your deliveries on the way.
I would have been laughing to tears if I saw something like that with a toilet and then the logo of the previous tool that you were using. That's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's exactly that. There was no sell or promo, or it was really just a transactional moment that they tied into a retention and brand moment.
Yeah.
This was an example that we did for, they had just a one-off Christmas box. It was a special order. This was the particular brand is called Bad Sheep Yarn, so that sheep is in their theme, and they got an artist to custom print a beautiful illustration which went on top of
Yeah.
this box, and inside was a bunch of goodies. So then we took that painting, sliced it up into all the different layers, and then tied it. Okay, well, what if we pretend that the sheep are delivering your Christmas box, and just having this as a little transactional moment ahead of a delivery going out, is these are the kind of things that you can really start to, it's a loyalty retention play when it comes to building out a brand experience like this. And again, this is where we get excited about, oh man, do you know what would be amazing if the picture that is printed on the box that's going out, what if we put that into the email,
I mean, where do you draw the line in those? These are discussions, this level of creativity, just itself, it's regenerative, just keeps on going. I mean, there's so many ideas that just pop out of this. Yeah, even me, as someone who is very non-creative, according to my creative wife, but even my ideas are being sparked as we speak. Just the things you could do, because last time when we spoke, you also, and I know we don't have time for that now, but we also showed me some examples around the tourism industry. There's people booking a holiday, wanting to, let's say, go to Greece, and if you have the information about the hotel, the destination, maybe the flight time, you could also build a kind of a wrapper of that, a pre-wrapper or pre-destination wrapper as well.
Yeah, and this might have been that one example. It was, and again, just goes to show, like, stylistically, we're not locked into a particular theme.
No.
And if you need to go more premium and realistic, this is what's possible. But I think that's what we get excited about, and we're busy building out a self-serve portal just to make it easier for people to engage with their templates and connect them up to CRM moments.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes to solving unique problems, it is very much, it's not all about the data, and it's not all about the design, but it's about the balance between the two. And I think that's really what we thrive in, is sitting down and working with a brand or working with an agency and solving those problems and connecting those dots. And it doesn't always have to be, a wrapped campaign all the way to the end. It can be a simple moment of going, hey, like, would it be possible to put in a beautiful post-purchase notification that just celebrates that particular event has happened in that person's life? And I think that kind of personalization stacks, and over time, personalization leads to engagement leads to loyalty and retention over time. So it's really about, our end goal, to answer your earlier question, at least our vision is, what would it look like if every moment from the first to every touch point in the journey, what if that was personalized, and what if that had really engaging experiences which are personalized, media driven like this? What if that customer journey was made up of branded moments like that?
Absolutely. Hey, I think that's a great point a great quote to end on. It's been really great talking to you and looking at all these examples. And I know that I've seen them before, and I remember telling you, don't show me everything because I want my reaction to be unique. But even you've shown me a few new things today. And again, I am so excited about the levels of personalization, but also the uniqueness and creativity that you guys are showing from where you guys have come from. You have come from that creative background, integrated now with the data, media generation to build something out unique. My compliments. I really love this, and I hope I'm going to start seeing some more examples of this in the places where I do my shopping and holiday booking in the future.
Super. It was great to chat, and thanks for taking the time. It was great to
absolutely
showcase some more of what we can do.
Yeah, no, in the future, I'd love to see, as soon as you guys have some new examples, definitely give me a shout, and we'll go ahead and show those as well.
Definitely. Much appreciated. Thanks for chatting.
Bye.
Cheers, man.